Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. Today we're talking Starfield. And if you're new around here, we talk Starfield a lot. So if you're into that kind of thing, if you're into other things, Bethesda, Starfield, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, consider subscribing. I'd also make a quick shout out to anyone who has recently subscribed. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate the support. Welcome to the community. We have a good time here. Let's get into it. Topic of the day. So now that Freelance has addressed a lot of people's issues with the game, what do you think should be addressed next? For me, it's got to be the lack of weapon mods. Most weapons maybe have 2 to 3 mods per slot. You can barely change the visuals. So I hope the next update brings better weapon mods, like there is in Fallout 76. All right, yeah, I like the topic, and that's why I chose this one to talk about today, because I do want to talk about what could be next and see what the community thinks on what could be next. I will say on weapon mods specifically, I kind of hard disagree on this. I feel that actually with the Freelance update and Terran Armada updates, like weapon mods has a ton right now. Like you can put plenty of slots on each weapon. You can change the look of weapons. There's like 50 things you can do with weapons, from like changing suppressors, the scopes, to stocks, to internals, to magazines, to the way they look, to the perks they have. There's a whole system around weapon mods. So I think this one is kind of strange, but I'm going to read a few of the other comments, and then I'll get into my thoughts on what I think should be next for Starfield. Commenter said, outpost settlements. I think us being able to make our own homes and planets needs to expand to being more of our own mini city, like Hopetown or Gagarin. I like that one. See, I think settlements is a big thing that could use improvement next. I think settlements is a half-baked system in Starfield. And you guys know I'm a fan of Starfield, but I think settlements is very half-baked. The last update gave us a way to make settlements even easier with like a prefab. But for us that are really into settlement building, I feel like Fallout 4 or Fallout 76 have like a way better settlement system that just feels like it has a lot more value. So settlements would be one of the things I think they could vastly improve in the game and make the game a lot more immersive. So I would vote for settlements all day long over that first comment of weapon mods. Another commenter said, outpost. Yep, once again, nailed it. Outpost. Another commenter said, outpost. They aren't terrible. They're just not meaningful, really. The Fallout 4 settlement system outclasses Starfield Outpost by a long shot. Yeah, exactly. That's what I just said. So, Outpost, for sure. Another commenter said, outpost, plus true survival where bases are necessary to get across the galaxy. Add more ship parts and POIs in every update, and the game will really fill out. Yeah, no, that's a great comment. So, obviously, I already know my point on Outpost, but continuing to add POIs, I think that's made a huge difference. The revamp of the POIs in the last update made a huge difference. I'm not seeing nearly the repeats. It feels a lot more fresh, feels a lot more interesting. And then they did sprinkle some new ones in there too. I don't know how many there is, 15 to 20 it seems. All of them very interesting, and they just make it more of a reason to go and explore space. So, every update should have more POIs. I totally agree with that comment. Another commenter said, people are covering major gameplay things, so I'll go the other way and say UI needs an overhaul pretty badly. It's one of the worst things about the game, and you have to use your main menu all the time, so I can't ignore it. Totally agree. I know there's a lot of mods out there that change the UI, like Star UI and stuff like that, but I would actually go a step further in saying one of my griefs is having to get to the main menus to do things all the time. Beyond the UI being a little clunky, I would say that like things like pulling up my star map to choose a planet, I just wish I didn't have to go through like menus to do that. Like I wish there was some way that it would like slide up to like 1/3 of the bottom of my screen or something, and I could quickly like select a star while like in the pilot seat. I think it'd be like so much more fluent, and you can hold your whatever button on whatever you're using that gets you to the main menu. If you hold that button, it takes you straight to the star map, so you don't have to like go into the main menu, then click the star map, then click a star. So you can just hold that and then get the star map and click the star. But at the same time, like I just still feel like it takes me out of the game, and I wish there was a way to have some kind of like I said, little slider and slide up or something while I'm still flying the ship and select like a star super quick from there and be able to like travel to it. Like when you're doing a mission, you kind of have the ability to like use your scanner and see the planet and then just select it and you don't have to go into the star map. But when you're just kind of exploring, like I just want to go from, Aquila City over to Jameson. I don't know, I'm just making something up. Unfortunately, you have to open the star map, and I hate that. So I really wish there was a way to have some kind. It just takes you out of the game. I know it's a nitpicky thing, but it just feel like it'd be so much nicer if when I'm sitting in the pilot seat, there was some way to pull up the star map as part of the gameplay, where I'm still flying. The star map slides up into a quarter of the screen. I select something, and it's seamless. Like I think that'd be a huge thing, and I think it's something they should definitely consider. Another commenter said flying into planets would be awesome. Well, I don't know if you mean like flying while within the atmosphere of a planet, because I don't feel like flying into a planet and blowing up would be that cool. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I don't agree with this one. Another commenter said enemy variety. It's my biggest gripe in the game. Aside from the differences in weapon loadouts and armor appearance, there is very little difference between fighting spacers, ecliptics, Crimson Fleet, and zealots. Alien creatures generally all fight the same way too. From what I can remember, aside from the Terramorphs, there is no real, unique, distinct attack patterns or attack types. Give me aliens that spit from a range, big aliens that spawn little ones, cloak, hit and run attacks. Adding aliens with a more varied attack types, giving each human faction more distinct gear and tactics, and more robot drone enemies would go a long way. Yeah, I tend to agree with this. I think like varying up the enemy types would be cool. I think there's a lot of enemy... How would I say this? I think there's a lot of types of enemies in the game, but he's right. Like the way you fight the enemies isn't very different very often. So I think the variety of combat, I guess, is what he's trying to say here more than the actual type of enemy. Like, make the combat a little more unique for different ones. They started working on this by adding, like, perks and things like that to certain enemies. So I think we've gone in the right direction here. But, yeah, some, like, unique attack types and tactics to kill certain things would be kind of cool for sure. Another commenter said, seamless loading screens hidden by warp animations and by atmosphere and clouds as you descend onto a planet. So he's talking about like Star Wars Outlaws does this, No Man's Sky does this, Star Citizen probably does this in some way. I don't actually know how that tech works as much, but you know, where it's not that the game doesn't have to load, because all games have to load. It's just instead of having a very blunt, you're flying, then you hit a loading screen, and then you're flying again. They just have like an animation in between that like hides essentially the loading screen while it's loading. One other thing you could do that like Destiny did is while it's loading on its flying animated loading screen, you could actually click in your menu while it's loading, which was pretty cool too, and like tweak your gear and things like that, or at least equip your gear, change your gear, manage your inventory, things like that while the game's loading. I thought that was a cool feature too that kind of took away that feeling of I'm being disconnected from the game. It instead just felt like your spaceship was flying to the planet, you're waiting for it to land, and while you're waiting for it to land, like that was a big thing we always did, was we'd always in Destiny go and play around with our inventory and tweak things and stuff like that. So the game never felt like there were just moments where you're just waiting. And better yet, you were never taken out from an immersion perspective, even when you were waiting, because you had something you could do. So I think that's a happy balance, because I think the thing is, if you just animate the screens, then you're just sitting looking at loaded screens the same. And yes, it's more immersive than looking at just a spinning bar. I don't know, a spinning circle, I guess. It's not a bar. But I still think like having something to do while the game's loading helps a lot too. I mean, even like Fallout 4 and Skyrim they could like change. They'd be like these little spinning models that you could like zoom in and zoom out and spin around and things like that, where Starfield just kind of looking at a blank screen, which is not super fun. So I could definitely argue on the flip side that Starfield on my machine loads in like 2 seconds anyway. But I would welcome this. For sure. I'd welcome hiding the loading screens completely just to make the thing more fluent. I'm going to do one more comment. Commenter says, I'd like melee combat fleshed out a little more. I totally agree with this, and this would be a really cool addition to me. And you know the other thing with this is they said Starfield is a test bed for some of their upcoming games, and I think this needs fixed in their games in general. I think like the combat is not where it needs to be from a melee perspective. Like only one slash and a block is just kind of lame by today's standards. And like I said, guys, this is coming from a true Starfield fan with 1,000 hours. It's my favorite game, but the melee is not very good, to say the least. And candidly, as much as I love Skyrim, and I still play that to this day, the combat's getting pretty dated. As much as I like Fallout 4 and 76, and I still play them to this day, the combat's feeling pretty dated. And even when I compare it against games that I know people are going to tear on me for this, but like Dragon Age Veilguard, played that. Sure, it's not my favorite game in the world. Sure, I'm not really crazy about some of the directions they took, but the combat itself was really satisfying. It's about the only thing but the combat was really satisfying, right? It was fluent. There was all these sweet melee attacks and combos and jump attacks and blocks and parries. And I mean, look at like an Assassin's Creed, same thing. Shadows, a lot of people poke on it. The combat, though, is satisfying. It's modern. It's fun. And I think Bethesda going in the direction of Elder Scrolls coming next really needs to consider it's probably time to revamp this melee system. Like, Elder Scrolls 6 cannot have this Skyrim-esque, Fallout 4-esque, Starfield-esque, one button, one move melee. We're talking about a game that's gonna have swords and tons of sword fights. And that's how a lot of people are going to be playing, with swords or axes or maces as warriors and things like that. And we desperately need the melee to be reworked. So if we could take it, put it in Starfield, try it out there, revamp it there, and then bring it into Elder Scrolls 6, why not? It's a win-win. So this is probably my favorite comment of the day. And this is actually, I think, where I would go. I think I would go with melee combat revamped. Get us some cool new melee weapons with more modifications, and also get us a really banger new melee system where we can do more fluent melee combat. And I could point to 15 examples: Crimson Desert, Where Winds Meet, Dragon Age Veilguard, Breath of the Wild. I mean, I could keep going. But the point being, there's plenty of new modern games you could look at with really fluent swordplay and go, let's add some of that into Starfield. Because, like, Starfield, in my opinion, the shooting from jetpacks, the guns, it's pretty satisfying, honestly. It's one of my favorite games from a combat perspective. And then you switch over to your sword or axe or knife, and it's like, it's not it. It's just not it. And I would just love to see Bethesda get to the level some of these other games have come from a melee perspective, because I think it's just going to be banger in that case, man. You already have really fun gameplay with the jetpack flying, shooting from the sky, throwing grenades from the air. Like, oh, that shit's really fun, actually. And like I said, just give me the melee at the same level. And oh my God, could this be fun? Could this be good? That's my comment of the day. That's my opinion. Let's get a faction that's like maybe based on complete combat, you know, maybe like some, I don't know, I'm just spitballing, but like Jedi-esque inspired type of faction. Maybe the Starborn. Maybe we could use the Starborn and be like, yeah, they're probably pretty good fighters, right? Like, let's expand on that and get some like really melee focused, like, for some reason, we got to go down this quest of learning how to fight better, and out of it we become this just melee god, and we just can have all these sweet combos and moves, and you can incorporate them with the gunplay. Like think of like I'm flying through the sky shooting a gun, and instead of throwing a grenade to the finisher, I just do like a Super Mario like ground pound, boom, like hit someone. Like, you know what I mean? Like you get what I'm saying? Like there could be air combos, you could have sneak combos, you could have all kinds of cool stuff. So you get the idea. I don't need to keep going. So let me know what you think in the comment section. If you stuck around this long, thank you. Appreciate you guys so much, and have a great day.